Yes, welcome back to the Nick and Dad podcast Work Up special. Greetings to the ones tuning as well on the Nick and Dad podcast YouTube channel. You don't know if you want to go ahead and subscribe to our individual YouTube channel. In it, you see down there with the collabs as well with the Nick and Dad podcast. So we're going to discuss the Black Stars, our African brothers, looking at it and our perspective, and it's not a good look at this moment. Look, it's safe to say that Ghana is going through some of the same issues that Jamaica national team is going through. The reggae boys, you understand, admin issue, local issue. You can look the Ghanaian Premier League, so many issues around that. Looking at the national team in around their last 5-6 games, where is the W? Changing coach. We don't know what is going to happen, in upcoming international window when they will face, the L3 Mexico and also Wales, and also the group stage, the CONCACAF team, they will kick it off with Panama as well. Panama in Toronto, in Ontario, and then so they will face their brotherhood club, the Three Lions, England, and then one of the World Cup finalists in recent times, Croatia. But where you get into this, man, with this Ghanaian team. Look, you say that a team didn't qualify for the AFCON, but qualify for the World Cup. And it's safe to say that the Jollof Derby between Nigeria and Ghana, who can serve the best jollof rice. Nigeria went to the African, but Nigeria didn't qualify for the World Cup. So, who, before we get into the discussion, who won that battle? Because Nigeria played in the African, but also didn't make it to the World Cup. But Ghana in the World Cup,
No must Ghana, man.
so Ghana
No
have the
must
last
Ghana
say.
have the last say because Nigeria didn't want the Afghan. You get is what I'm saying. So, but as you said, Ghana. Last time I watched Ghana play, they play against Germany, and I think they win at they score. They went ahead, and then Germany picked them back and come back and won that game. You get what I'm saying? But when I was watching that game and I was watching them under eye, they wasn't a bad team. They have a lot of good talent. They have Somedo, one of the best player in the Premier League right now currently. You get what I'm saying? And they have a very solid defender. So they still have what's his name, Partey
Yeah,
in Villarreal. You get what I'm saying? So they have some good players. It's just that, as you said, the what's going on at the FA is the football federation is giving them a lot of time, a lot of problem off the field. You get what I'm saying? So they have not make it to the last one, two World Cup, right?
yeah, I think
You get what I'm saying? So, so I'm watching Ghana all these years. They have the Michael Essien coming up and stuff like that. So I'm surprised they always have talent. You get what I'm saying? They have Kudus, Mohammed Kudus. You get what I'm saying? So I think what's gonna have to happen, this new coach that come in, which is a very experienced
yeah.
coach, Carlos,
Carlos Queiroz.
always been around. This
I
guy,
think
he's
I think
all
I think he was Alex Ferguson assistant coach at one time.
yes.
Yeah.
How many job this guy gonna get? Like, I don't understand. Especially he was in the Asian,
Yeah, yeah.
in the Arab
Arab Cup.
area. He
Yeah.
was at. This guy is.
He's
I
all
think
over.
I respect him. I respect him a lot. But I think Ghana they're gonna have to show what they made of in the World Cup. I think it's a good game to start off with Panama. That's the best game it could start off on, and I think they have a good team to able to do something in the World Cup, especially what happened in the last 2010 World Cup when
Yeah.
they went to the quarterfinal
Yeah.
and got beaten by Uruguay.
Yeah.
So let's see what this team can made
Asamoah
of.
Gyan. For the Ghana fans out there, in 2010, Asamoah Gyan was loved by all Jamaican people. I remember that World Cup
Yeah,
vividly. In South Africa,
yeah,
he was loved by all Jamaican. It is the antics on the field, and the optics around his game. I just think that the Ghana team that we used to playing, in World Cup, especially in the Germany World Cup, You're looking at the Montari, the Sanet Hapia. These players, they play with swagger. They have a
Yeah.
style with them. You understand? I think when you look at this Ghanaian team, it's more of a stalemate team at this moment where they are not playing up to standard. They are not playing to represent the country. And then the admin, the FA, the Football Federation, they are not even making it easy for the players to have success on the pitch. When you look at so much things that could happen, look at the rise, of the Ghanaian football throughout the 90s, the early 2000s. You think their league would be much a established league in Africa, but it is not. The talent, I think talent is not really the issue in Ghana. There are so many talented players as well out there in Ghana, but it's just that is how you're going to nurture them, how you're going to manufacture and harvest these talent. So I just think the admin have a lot to play in it. Look at the chop and change of coaches. They were changed like 3 different coaches in this whole World Cup cycle. Started off with Chris Hutton, Otto, a former player as well, and then Carlos Correas. So Correas as well, very experienced international coach. He has managed teams like Portugal, Iran, Egypt, Colombia. Colombia, I didn't know that one. He used to manage Colombia. His job mainly, to stabilize Ghana and prepare them for the World Cup. So you're looking at it, he come in a smash and grab. No, he didn't coach his team in the qualify, but he's just going to come in with these 3 group stage games. And if there's be games in the knockout phase, he will be a part of that. And then maybe he just take away himself. And that will be on his resume. And then he will move on again to a different national team. So looking at it, international coaching experience and also local experience in that technical department for Ghana. I want to talk about, look at what is happening in Ghana. They miss the AFCON in 2024-25. That is the first time that happened in over 2 decades. And I never would even think of this in my wildest dream, to be honest. But I think of me watching football, watching this Ghanaian team, knowing how this Ghana team can play. I fell in love with that 2006 Ghanaian national team. I think you remember in Jamaica when the newspaper used to have the pictures of the World Cup players locked inside of it, where you buy a newspaper and then you will get a surprising picture of either Zidane, one of those star players. I remember when I bought one, I think it was a Ghanaian legend. His name was Appiah. And from that day, I fell in love with the Ghanaian national team. So I'm looking at,
Yeah.
I think this is one of the weakest Ghanaian team. And so for Kudus, Mohammed Kudus will not be a part of the squad because of injury. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, Semenyo is good. Fatawu is good. I'm not sure about Jordan Ayew. I think he has passed his best. I think he has passed.
Why is this guy need to pack up in boots like him brother, and go outside, I don't know why this guy still amongst the national team. But look at it. I look at it is like this way. Look how Senegal are able to create a culture and
Exactly.
bring in good players, and you get what I'm saying, and they have they have been the one that passed Ghana. Senegal have won the last couple in the last couple of
Yeah,
years. They have won 2 African Cup. You get what I'm saying? So you can see Senegal players is start to improve. I'm not quite sure about their league. I'm not
yeah,
gonna say I know a lot about their leagues, but they are able to get their players good moves, able to get their players developing better, have a good national team, a good setup. You get what I'm saying? And just look at Ghana. Their football have declined. They don't have the players that have the top players in the top teams anymore. You get what I'm
yeah.
saying? So we just have to look at that. You get what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that they can able to put a stop to this. I respect the coach that they got, but I don't like that iron because I feel like it's just a stopgap. Because he's just gonna come in, do him time at the World Cup and then
And then
leave. You get what I'm saying?
After the World Cup finish, Ghana going to have to start to prepare for the Afghan qualifications as
Yeah.
well. So
Yes.
that will more likely be a new coach at the helm. So there will be a new start.
Yeah.
So these are the things that been happening over the last 10, 15 years for Ghana. It's been a stop and go. They make 3 steps forward, they make 4 steps back. You get what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
just think, the admin just need to get the perfect appointment, start to structure the league locally, So you look at probably the golden generation of players coming through that Ghanaian Premier League, the 90s, the 2000s, it's a lot of players came through that door and to get it and make the transition into European football as well. Looking at it where Asari, Sediu, Opoku, Jiku, Mensa, Partey, Cebu, not Kudus, but he will be replaced. Fatawu, Jordan Ayew, and Semenyo. These players easily could be the starter for Ghana coming up in the
Yeah.
next World Cup games. And if you ask me, I mean, I know the names, but they are unknown to a lot of people
Yeah.
in the wider scheme of the world. When you talk about Ghanaian players used to play at the highest level, Champions League football. How many of these players are playing at the elite level of in the Champions League? There's none. There's none. I think Jordan Ayew was a very good player in his days, but he has passed his best. He has passed his best.
Yeah.
Semenyo is that player where you can say, yes, he's playing in the Champions League, but you're looking
He
at
just moved, just made that
just
move though.
make that move. He kind of started out really well at City. Scored some goal in his
Yeah.
first 5-10 games, but kind of tail off like that expected. Bigger teams still need to adjust. In that environment as well. So I'm just looking at it. There's no real superstar, and we saw something online where it said if Ghana pick 5 local players in their squad, they will make at least over 150,000 US dollar, by the end of the World Cup campaign for one player. I'm like, okay, if that is possible, if that's so, if the policy of FIFA, they can use those money to develop the league, get better pitches, give the clubs money as well, make big changes locally. And I think that's where they need to make changes, so players can gradually come through the senior team from the youth team. And I think Ghana usually have very good youth team just like Nigeria, but they just didn't manage, to get these players, the transition from the youth team to the senior team as well. But the last two times Ghana was in the AFCON, they exit the group stage. That's bad. Like the last two, that's bad. That is so.
Yeah.
The last time they won the AFCON was 1982. That's terrible.
Damn.
Ghana is a big also name in football. I think that look, I think I have known this like probably like 5 years ago that the last time Ghana won the AFCON it was 1982. I didn't know that. I thought Ghana would have won it probably like last 15 years. This is
Yeah.
over 3 decades.
At least some decades. At least in the last decade. Damn. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So
That is crazy.
looking at it where Ghana, let's go in some recent games that they played, right? Where Otto was sacked. They played Japan in November, they got 2-0. Played South Korea, they got 1-0. They played the Bafana, South Africa, they lost 1-0. They played Austria, they lost 5-1. I think that was the last dagger. I think that was the final straw for Otto as well. And then their last game they played Germany and lost that game 2-1. So their next game will be around, somewhere
They play Mexico.
they will play Mexico and Wales as well. And then they will leading up to this group stage games. I can't see Ghana make this team, make this out of the group. I can't see them.
Yeah, I don't. I definitely don't see
I
them
can, it
making
would
it.
be it would
Even
be a shock for me to see Ghana come out as one of the best third place team.
yeah, I think that game against Panama is gonna be a very very game they have to win if they want to have any chance to make it in the third place. But people who don't know what's going on in the CONCACAF, the Ghana fans never don't underestimate Panama.
Yeah.
Panama have been one of those teams that's gradually making improving and step from the CONCACAF. So I think that game is gonna be because I know a lot of Ghanaians that probably
Yeah.
see Panama and they don't know nothing about Panama and
Yeah,
they
so
think say, oh,
what we want to say around this Panamanian team, they don't really have star powers in the world football. I think they have the player that used to play for Marseille, is in Besiktas, Murillo, the right back. But what they have a compact team. They have a very good
Yeah.
Spaniard coach. They make Nations League final. This same squad made Nations League final. They make it to the Gold Cup final as well, and they lost them. So this was a coach. His first stint was in the Gold Cup 2021. They fell out of the group stage, and from there, arguably they're probably in the top three best CONCACAF team in the last 3 to 4 years. So don't look at this Panama team as, yeah, it's Panama, we should beat them. Yeah, Ghana is more
Yeah.
of a household name in the world football than Panama, but looking at what both teams are doing in their region, the Panamanian teams are
Yeah.
doing much better, much better than this Ghanaian team. So I think Ghana can beat Panama and Panama can beat
Yeah.
Ghana. So both teams are
Can
looking
be
at
fun.
each other in this group like, look, we should beat each other. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think,
That's where the 3 points should come from.
yeah,
Guaranteed. That's what both teams probably saying. Yeah.
yeah. So that's where we leave it. Ghana ranked 74 in the world. I think Ghana and Reggae Boys ranked.
That's high.
Yeah, that's the
That is
yeah.
very. I look it up and I couldn't believe it. That's very high.
Yeah,
That is high.
it's not good, to be honest. It's not good. And I want to mention this as well. I want to look at the African, but I don't know if I can really get it. But let me see if I can pull it up. All right, so the Africa Cup of Nation qualification. Ghana have Madagascar, Angola. They played Niger. Look at some of these teams that Ghana played, and they couldn't make it out of that group. Like, I just can't understand. This Ghanaian team. They they played Nicaragua a few years back in a friendly game, and they beat them 1-0. A Nicaragua team is not a competitive team in the CONCACAF region. When the Reggae Boys play those teams, we beat them 3-4-0. So let's leave it like that, because as what we said, what we can really reminisce back with this Ghanaian team, the likes of Asamoah Gyan, the Prince Boateng. What's that left back name? They used to have a left back.
I know who you're talking about. I know. I'm imagining him right now.
They used to have Wakaso. Yeah, no, and I can't remember that right back. But they used to have Jonathan Mensah. These players. The Michael Essien. I mean, the Suleiman Tari. So yeah,
Montari.
they have so many good players in the past, but
They used to have the captain, the number 10, the bald guy. I forgot his name as
I
well.
think his name is Apia. Back in the
Up
day,
here,
yeah,
yeah,
Apia.
yeah, yeah,
His
yeah, up
name,
here.
his name, that's Apia. So I'm trying to find if I can that player name that used to be. Let me see. That left back. That's it. I can't find his name. You know what we supposed to forgot to say? Rest in peace to Christian Atsu.
Yeah, RIP.
Yeah, respect. RIP to Christian Atsu, man. But yeah, leave it right there. Let's leave it right there. We will get back to that player named the left back. But
Yeah,
anyway,
we definitely,
yeah, but
we will definitely come back to that game, that Panama game, to
yeah,
discuss what
yeah, it
happened in
was.
that game
So
for
I
sure.
mean, if you guys know
Yeah,
exactly that famous left back that used to play for the Ghanaian national team in just recent times ago, especially in that 2010 World Cup, just pin him name in the comment section and let us know as well. So to our black stars, brothers, African brothers, Ghanaian fans, much love and respect to you guys as well. Subscribe to the channel. Much love and respect to you guys.